I don't know, man. My mic was muted, man. We messing up already tonight. But welcome back to another edition of the Halftime Show with your boy Courtlandt Griffin. Man, this is I think this is what episode 9. So we're nearing the 10th episode. So we had to work on something special for you guys for the 10th episode. But tonight, as always, y'all already know what it is. The show starts at halftime, and we're gonna be talking some NFL. I'm supposed to have a guest on, but you know what I mean. We'll see if she can show up. I know she has some things she has to do. If she can't, it's cool. Y'all know how we rock out. We'll do this thing solo. And y'all know what we got to get started with, man. You know, already know them halftime adjustments. Um, so the first one up is good old Rocky Top. Shout out to University of Tennessee. They maybe had the game of the decade, possibly. I mean, we definitely had the game of the year. It came down to a field goal. These were two teams. Alabama was at the time was ranked number 3. Tennessee ranked number 6. Both teams undefeated in the SEC, searching for a college football playoff spot. Um, so again, it came down to pretty much the wire. Both teams were going back and forth. Hendon Hooker was amazing in this game, and also Hyatt, the wide receiver, number 11 for the Tennessee Volunteers, another like had a big performance. I think he had like 6 receptions, 200. I want to say like 204, 208 yards, and like 3 or 4 touchdowns or something like that. It was something crazy. He also made the the catch to get them into field goal range to win the game. So those two dudes, man, probably have stamped their tickets to the NFL just with their performances in that game. They won of course, like I said, UT won the game. Ending score was 52-49 on a kick. Now, like when you see the kick, right? Of course, like you see Alabama's kicker like completely hooks it out to the right, completely misses the entire upright. But then, like the way that the kick looked, like it's kind of scary. Like you're a kicker at the college level, so you're kind of looking for certain things. You see NFL kickers and things of that nature, how the ball travels. But this ball looked like it got tipped, and still had enough leg. He had enough leg to kind of uh, dead duck it, lame duck it through the upright to win the game. It was just a weird situation, and like I was at my nephew's birthday party. Shout out to Chum, my nephew, man, turning 10 years old. So, shout out to him. Happy birthday to that kid. We was at his birthday party watching, and it was like, and the whole strike and spare stars and stripes place like went up like as soon as they won. But UT is ranked. The Tennessee Volunteers, their football program is ranked in the top 3 for the first time since 1998. Like that made like that's massive. This is also the first time that they beat Alabama in 16 tries in 16 seasons. So shout out to those boys up there in Knoxville for doing big things. And people, UT fans are still celebrating, and it is now Wednesday. And that happened on Saturday. So shout out to those boys. Next up, man, the Panthers didn't even get this man 24 hours, man. It's the first 24. I know it's normally first 48, but you know what I'm saying? It's first 24. Um, Panthers receiver Robbie Anderson removed from the sideline after multiple spats with coaches. And then after that, he's traded to the Arizona Cardinals the very next day. Like the very next day. The question that I have is, did Steve Wilkes make the right call? I believe he did. You're the interim coach. You're trying to get a team back on track. Maybe this season may be a wash. This season may be over. But I think as a head coach in the NFL, when you're the interim, you're trying to get that interim tag off of you, and you're trying to now come in and be a maybe the permanent head coach moving forward in the year. You're now trying to get guys into position to maybe make an impact on the next year, 2023, and also maybe win a couple of games here and like and right the ship here a little bit. So I believe he made the right call removing Robbie Anderson from the sideline. Like you can't have one guy uh, essentially like running your coaches off and trying to assert his authority when you're the coach, and your coaching staff is supposed to be there to get these guys in the right mindset, the right plays, you know what I'm saying, the right adjustments. And so like you can't have one guy messing that up and mucking it up on the sideline. So yes, I believe that he made the right call. But also, is there any salvage in the Panther season? And I have to say, like I could see it, but it's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of turning around. It's going to take a full 360 or 180 turn, I should say, for this team to really turn it around and salvage. The only thing that I can see salvaging is, maybe a couple of players. But again, like I said on last week's show, if you guys tuned into that one, there's a lot of guys that are up on the chopping block, a lot of stars on this team, a lot of young players and young talent on this team that are up for a trade. So I can't really see them really salvaging anything when they're trying to get draft capital and set this team up for the future. Um, so yeah, man, like again, like man, first 24, they gave that man 24 hours, and this to show you that the NFL is moving in a different direction because this is not often that you see this happen. Like that's normally like a NBA thing where you see guys get traded. Like there's a spat, there's a situation that happens, and you see a guy get traded literally like the next day or within 2 days. It's not something that you normally see in the NFL. But moving on here, it's Father Time catching up to one Tom Brady. We all know that Thomas Edward Brady is 43 years old, going on 44 years old. He's been in the league for a while, for a long time now. You know what I'm saying? He's won countless Super Bowls. We know a lot of people have him, deemed as the GOAT. A lot of people have him, deemed as the best football player of all time, greatest football player, period, of all time. Is it now tapering off for Tom Brady? I believe so. I believe this could be his last year. There's a lot going off the field for him, but even on the field, there are some things that are very uncharacteristic about Tom Brady that you have to kind of watch for. There are things that he's doing now that he's never done in his entire NFL career, even as a rookie. There are throws that he's missing in some situations. There's situational awareness that is kind of like kind of telling that maybe football isn't his first priority right now. Maybe it's a situation that these situations his mind is elsewhere. Like I think what he had a gaff, like a mental gaff, where it was fourth down and he kind of looked like he was confused, like he didn't know that it was fourth down and he let the play clock go to zero. And it's these those kind of things that kind of make you like get you to understand like man, maybe he's too old to do this now. And I know we say this and we say this every year, and a lot of guys say this every year that Tom Brady's going to fall off the hump. He's going to fall off the cliff. He's too old. He's this, he's that, he's other. But it's really this year that it's kind of looking evident that Tom Brady is over the hump. Um, but despite despite the stat line and everything, he's having a good season by the numbers. I just think the age is catching up to him. I think he doesn't have the pop in the arm. Not that he ever had the strongest arm. I just don't think he has the pop in the arm that he used to have. The zip on the ball, his accuracy hasn't waned, but the zip on the ball, the velocity on the ball has. His reaction, like I said, his reaction time is situational awareness. So I just think it's tapering off. I believe this year or next year. He kind of flirted with retirement this year, so maybe at the end of this year in the offseason of 2023, maybe this could be Tom Brady's last year. This could be his swan song to go off and ride off into the sunset. So man, yeah, it's getting scary out here. Of course, for one Thomas Edward Brady. And if you are a Tom Brady fan, what I mean, I completely understand. I get it. But moving on, like we're talking about an older guy moving out of the league and his career tapering off. But let's talk about the youngsters of the league. You know what I'm saying? It's a new era of the NFL. Well, we're looking at this, and if you're looking at this graphic, there's four young quarterbacks there that we should be talking about, that people should be raving about. Kyler Murray, Justin Herbert, Trevor Lawrence, and Jalen Hurts, who's now catching up to the party now. And the crazy thing about this is they're the future of the league. Like you kind of deem eras by quarterbacks, and so now you got this new era of quarterbacks that are coming in, and seven of the top. This is a crazy stat. 7 of the top 15 passes in the NFL are 27 or younger. Think about that for a second. The 7 of the top 15 statistical passing leaders are 27 or younger. That means there's 8 other guys that are, not 27 or younger, that are older guys, but 27 and younger, and the top 7 of the top 15. That's top half of the league of quarterbacks are 25 or 27 or younger. Um, And my question, like the question that I kind of have is, will we see this trend go forward? Like, will we see younger quarterbacks start to have more successful, um, more fruitful seasons and leading teams to playoff berths and leading teams, to that more successful era of football? And I believe so. I believe these younger guys are coming in with a better grasp on the NFL, and I kind of think it's a merging mesh point. At one point, there was like you saw college football; it was all speed option routes for quarterbacks, spread out. You know what I mean? And that didn't really translate well to the way the NFL was kind of running the NFL. The NFL game was played. It was run first, play action, those things. And guys had to kind of learn to be under center, learn 7-step, 5-step drops, and learn timing and things of that nature. And now these guys are coming into an NFL that's now running the 5-out system. They're running more um, speed option stuff. They're running more RPO offense. So these teams are now, these guys are now coming in and being able with, teams now having to kind of play more, teams playing more spread offense and teams having to adjust to that on defense. These guys are now only having to adjust to the speed of the game, right? And they don't have to adjust the scheme. So it's speeding up the learning curve for these younger guys. So yeah, I believe that this new era of quarterbacks, the Jalen Hurts of the world, the Justin Herberts of the world, the Kyler Murrays, the Trevor Lawrences, the Patrick Mahomes who are already established, the Josh Allens who are already established. Those guys, you're going to see more of those guys come into the league, and then when you have a crop of guys like C.J. Stroud, like oh man, I can't remember the quarterback. Quarterback from Alabama. I can't remember his name right now. It really skipped my mind there. But you have him coming out. You got C.J. Stroud out of Ohio State coming out. You got Hendon Hooker coming out. These guys who are top notch athletes who are playing in those styles of offenses, and then we're looking at those guys and we're saying like, are they going to come in and what are they going to be? They are now coming into an NFL that is more tailored to their skill set and tailored to what they do best and tailored to their talent. And so now we may see those guys come in. We may see CJ Stroud come in and throw for 4,000, or 4,500, 30 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. We may see that happen. We may see a guy like Hendon Hooker come in and be a 1 year, like sit for 1 year and then come in and be a starter the next year and have a Jalen Hurts type of ascension. So like we when we're looking at this, when we're seeing these things happen, this trend in the NFL happen in this newer era of quarterbacks, it's very exciting because you're going to see these guys be better and better and better as the years go on. Um, so speaking of new era of quarterbacks, and I mentioned these two guys' names, and of course we understand and we know that the NFL is driven by the rivalries. The NFL is driven by the storylines. And is and the at sports period, right? We've had rivalries such as man, name them. Name them. The Steelers and the Ravens, right? The Titans and Pittsburgh have been were a rivalry at one point, but then you got the Titans and Baltimore that were a rivalry at one point. You got the Titans and now the Jaguars. You got the Titans and the Colts, right? Rivalries, that are amazing. The Eagles and the Cowboys is a big rivalry. But then when you go down into the subcategories of rivalries, it's the player on player rivalries that really get you kind of interested in seeing one. And one that I got to witness myself growing up was Eddie George versus Ray Lewis. For a long time, those two dudes went at it, and you love to see those two alpha males, those two alpha dogs really go at it and go, really hit each other. And that's when football was really grimy and really and guys really looked forward to really teeing off on each other all game long. And you saw that. But one that we've seen and was always been a story is the quarterback rivalries. And one that we've always seen and that's probably going to go down in history is Peyton Manning versus Tom Brady. Well, now we got a new version of that. We got Josh Allen versus Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is an MVP. Patrick Mahomes is a Super Bowl MVP. He's a Super Bowl champ. You know what I mean? He's pretty much been the model of what a quarterback should be over the span of his short career now. And then Josh Allen has now been the guy who's coming up. The ascension up the ladder has been gradual every year, and he's now looking like the MVP of the league. He's now looking like the guy who can go forth and win a Super Bowl and be a Super Bowl MVP. And now these two guys met up this past Sunday with the Buffalo Bills edging them out. And it was a knockdown drag out game. It was a knockdown drag out game. Um, Now, of course, Mahomes and Allen are now tied, including the playoffs, at two apiece. So over four meetings between these two teams, both of them have won. Both of them have lost one. Um, of course, Patrick Mahomes is regarded as the best quarterback in the NFL, and that's that is not by mistake. The dude has been literally probably and not even probably, by the eye test and the numbers, he's been the best quarterback we've seen, arm talent wise and maybe talent wise, period overall that we've seen. He's the perfect bridge gap between mobile running pat and pocket passer. So this is a guy in Patrick Mahomes who last year had a down season, and his down season would have been some guy's best season ever. So when we look at him, he's widely regarded as the best quarterback in the NFL. And then Allen is regarded as a top three. And if you are smart, he's the top two quarterback in the NFL. And he's the clear, if you want to say number two, I like to call him 1A and 1B. I think that Allen is 1B in the NFL. So when you look at this and you look at these two guys and you look at who they are and what they are and what makes up their makeup, when these two teams clash, the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs, you're going to get these two guys clashing, and it's going to be most times it's going to be who gets the ball last or who makes the mistake first. And that always brews up for a good rivalry because these guys are going to be in the MVP conversation for the next decade or so. So now we're going to get these matchups every so often, maybe every 1 or 2 years, where these two guys are going to meet up, whether it be in the playoffs or in the regular season or both, and we're going to see them duke it out for supremacy. Um, and like I said, many are making the comparison between Peyton Manning and Brady. And has it reached that particular level? I don't quite know it's reached that level yet. The reason I say that is because when they were really going at it and dogging it out, Tom Brady had already won two Super Bowls at the time that rivalry really started to pick up speed and really started to pick up momentum. Mahomes has won one and won an MVP, yes, and then I think Peyton had an MVP, and Josh Allen has done neither of those things. He hasn't won a Super Bowl, and he hasn't won a league MVP yet. So has it reached that level yet? No, but I give it another 2 or 3 years. It's probably going to be at that level. By that time, Josh Allen probably has a Super Bowl. By that time, Patrick Mahomes probably has another Super Bowl and probably another MVP. Josh Allen probably has an MVP and a Super Bowl MVP within the next 3 years. So it probably could reach that. The real question is a lot of people are not talking about one guy, right? And that's that guy up in Maryland, and that's Lamar Jackson, right? Number 8 deserves to be in the conversation. And I think a lot of people kind of brush over him because he's not revered as the passer that Allen is. He's not revered as the caliber of quarterback. I should say the caliber of quarterback. I'm just going to use it for lack of better terms, caliber of quarterback that these two guys are. Whether it be because you question him whether because he's a run first guy or he's a running quarterback, or whether it's because of his ability, ability to pass and his accuracy being consistent. If for some reason he's just not revered in the same light as these two guys. I'm going to be the first person to say this, and probably I'll lead the charge. Lamar Jackson is doing something that not a lot of guys can do, and that's changed the minds of those who were skeptical of him. That's changed the minds of guys and critics and journalists that were kind of blasting him and wondering if he's ever going to get over the hump. Is he going to be just a souped up version of Michael Vick? Is he really that guy? Is he the guy that can win with his arm? He's doing that this year. The thing about Lamar is, I think that has people kind of on the fence of putting him maybe in a three-way rivalry with Josh Allen and a Patrick Mahomes, or even in a head-to-head clash with Mahomes instead of Allen, is the fact that he is inconsistent passing the ball. And he does have an MVP, but a lot of people will tell you he probably didn't win he didn't win that MVP because of just his passing performance. It's because of what he can do with his legs too. And I think that's what kind of holds back Lamar Jackson. So, all in all, I believe that this is a rivalry that should and could become one that we look at over the span of the next decade and say, man, these two dudes really went at it and duked it out. And so, yeah, shout out to them, man, because that game was great. It was amazing. It was down to the wire, and it kind of gave you reminiscing of their playoff performances and um, their playoff rivalry, their playoff appearance together, going at it at that game. And that game also came down to who had the ball last. And so, like I said, this is a rivalry that could rival that of Tom Brady and Peyton Manning, but also don't sleep on a guy by the name of Lamar Jackson, right? Because Lamar should be in that conversation. He's won the MVP. Josh Allen hasn't. He's done great things, legendary things. He's had maybe one of the best dual threat seasons from a quarterback ever in history. And that's one thing that Josh Allen also has not done. So we have to give respect where respect is due. Like I said, I do believe that Josh Allen is the 1B in the league when it comes to quarterbacks. I believe the old guard is kind of getting phased out. The Tom Brady's, the Aaron Rodgers of the world, right? Those guys are starting to get kind of phased out and getting pushed to the back of the line, and these younger guys are now taking over. But I believe that this is the rivalry that you need to look at, but don't sweep. Don't sweep your guy Lamar Jackson up under the rug. He deserves to have some love and get some love from the media. But again, man, I know this is a pretty short episode. It wasn't meant to be long. And I really wish that my guests could have came through. But again, like I said, y'all know how we rock out. We're gonna do this thing solo dolo if we have to. Man, I appreciate the people that did tune in to tonight's show. Again, if you need to catch these episodes, man, if you wasn't able to catch it live, it's not the end of the world. You can always catch them on my YouTube channel. Just search the halftime show with Courtlandt Griffin. It should pop up. If you search my name, Courtlandt Griffin, it will also pop up. Also, catch me on YouTube. Like I said, YouTube at Courtlandt Griffin. You can catch me on the 3-point conversion. Or my articles and things. We just put a Voltron article up about the NBA superlative awards. The NBA season kicked off last night. The Lakers, they got beat pretty bad by the defending champs, the Warriors, and then the Boston Celtics and the 76ers also played last night, and the finals runner-ups and the Celtics came out victorious. If you know, I came early in the season, and after they had picked up Malcolm Brogdon, I said that the Boston Celtics would be the odds-on favorite. They're my odds-on favorite to repeat and go to the finals and come out of the East. On the West, I haven't really thought too much about it, but we'll see what happens. I do know that I have Luka Doncic winning the MVP this year, so we'll see how that goes. But again, man, go check out that article on the Superlative Awards to see who I picked and the rest of the talented journalists at the 3-point conversion picked as well. Also, catch me on Twitter at DC Griffey. You can catch the halftime show live over there as well as on my Facebook channel. But if you follow me on Twitter, you have access to this show live as it's happening live in 4K. So if you follow me over there, all of my sports takes, all of my spicy takes, all of the live tweets that I do while watching games and things are over there. And also you can catch me in like the Sports After Dark spaces and things like that, Facts and Stacks, the TSSN network guys over there. I frequent those spaces as well, so you can follow me in there as well. But man, this has been the halftime show with your boy Courtlandt Griffin. Always remember the show starts at halftime. Peace.